will begin our work session. It's right at 9:30. And Sheriff, good morning. First?
Throw it under the bus, please.
Anybody can get in here, but you're the only one on the list, so we'll let you go first.
He who has the gun has the power. You have the power.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta have bullets. I wanted to approach you guys to see, I'm sure you're aware that Microsoft is stopping its support on Windows XP. I believe it's on April 8th of this year. The unfortunate part of it is that our system is set up on Windows XP, so we need to upgrade our computers to be able to fend off the viruses and the hackers that get into the systems. I did approach our IT guys, which is Gem Consulting, and asked them what we would need to do to be able to get through this phase, and they did give me back a quote. The unfortunate part is 11 of our computers are not upgradable to Windows 7. 13 of them are. To be able to do that, to get the process all taken care of, you're looking at just under $13,000. Now, I didn't factor that into the budget for this year to be able to cover that cost, and I was hoping that you guys could authorize the funding to be able to take care of that, so our system isn't vulnerable to any attacks. So,
11 computers and software.
11 computers, new computers, and then upgrading 13 of them to the Windows 7 platform. Because of the software we used prior to the Pro Phoenix, it required Windows XP. Now, since we're into a new software system, it'll operate under Windows 7.
Bill, what's the alternative? I don't see any.
No.
I mean, quite frankly.
We've well, last year alone, we had some emails come into our office that if you opened it up, and it looked like an administrative email from our office. If you opened it up, it would attack that computer, then spread to other computers. I think last year alone, one of the articles I read from Microsoft was they had patches to fix security issues for 100 different attacks that come out. So when you look at it, every 3-4 days, there's a new virus or whatever coming out to try to attack the systems.
I assume you've got, with Gem, I know that's the ones we have out there, they got spam filters on there and all that. I mean, I'm not getting into the IT.
We
business
actually
side of
bought
it.
some additional hardware last year to be able to fend those off, those emails as they come in. Now they're attacked as they come in if they don't make it out.
Is ICE, is it ICE?
Just kind of
Yeah.
where you should
No,
be.
it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know what ICE stands, not the same ICE as yours, but
Oh.
we have ICE, what we call it. And it works, but I mean, I don't see any alternative what you're asking for.
We've dealt with Gem for 5-6 years now. They do an outstanding job for us, operating 24/7. If we have an issue, they come out and take care of it. We can't wait till the next day sometimes.
Jim,
Jason. It's not Jake, it's Jason.
McCafferty.
McCafferty, yeah.
Callan.
For me saying that.
Pardon?
Hard time for me to say his last name.
Yeah. Jason
They're a
Irish.
local company.
so you said 13,000?
Yeah, it's like,
Got you need 11 new hardware, everything, and there's 13 of them you're gonna upgrade.
upgrade. We can upgrade 13.
So what are you gonna go to? Are you going to you're going to 7 or are you gonna go to 8? You're not gonna go to 8? Okay.
I understand, talking to Stacy, your budget's running about, you're about where you should be on the budget. There really isn't any to transfer anywhere at this point in time.
Yeah, the unfortunate part, if we would take it from somewhere else now, we're gonna be short there at the end of the year, so.
I guess I would suggest that we just do it with our regular business resolution.
Yeah.
We got a deadline here, if you gotta have it done before April, whatever you said. And we gotta, it's one of those things,
Do you sit down by
software.
Well, the
and-
software, you lose all the software support for XP by June, I believe.
Well,
Or did you get
Microsoft
anything
was out
earlier?
on April 8th is when, on the 9th, it's the software support is gone. The customer support is gone and the patches to fix any issues goes away.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, okay. Yeah, because when we got rid of it in December for this reason, we knew that was gonna happen. Okay, so-
Laptops upgraded to 7 because they were upgradable, but this one, having to pay for 11 computers, that just isn't in the budget, so.
I just wondered who has the time to design these viruses that attack computers.
Put them on something productive, can't we put them on
Somebody
something
has to
productive?
design all that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Appreciate your consideration into that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill.
we have anybody else that wanted to talk to us in work session?
I wonder what
Yeah,
the
sure.
next step is on the Justice Center. What would be the next, after the study?
The study has obviously been unveiled.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have to formally accept the study, but we are looking at the study, and I think that's a desire from what Commissioner Zoller outlined at the last meeting, of what he kind of thought we might want to do, and I foresee, I'm still looking through, I'm not ready really to comment on it. I've got a meeting set up with the auditor to look at our, financial obligations out, that's kind of where I need to do a little more research myself. I was unfortunately out of the state when it was unveiled, but I have read through things, but I need to do that. I know Commissioner Wagner's been talking with folks. I think Commissioner Zoller sounds like he's ready whenever we want to talk about it, because he was part of the team.
I was part of the process when I put it together, so, that was part of all the culmination of everything.
Yeah,
I suggested, last night was at a city council meeting, unrelated, but the mayor asked me, because what was the commissioner's approach to the whole thing, and that he was recommending from his city council that the next meeting, which is 2 weeks from now, April 7th, that they were then gonna start investigating and so forth, and I suggested that perhaps the city take the lead on here. Let's see what the city is gonna do before we even move forward with it ourselves.
yeah. Yeah, so say, a joint meeting at some point might be the next step, but like I said, everybody's just kind of now reflecting on what the study says, going through that information that was provided, and seeing what we might want to try to work towards.
It's a big project, it's gonna take a lot of thought. There's been a lot of thought that's went into it at this point, but now we're bringing it open to a greater group of people, and it's certainly if it's gonna go forward, it's gotta be through the cooperation of the city, the county, and the judges. Those are key elements. Those, any one of those would fall out of it, it's a deal breaker, in my mind, so.
And I think I've pretty well got my thoughts. Got one more person I want to meet with, but I met with all 4 judges, and I think we kind of, at some point next week or two, talk about it, and then I'd like to see a joint meeting with the city after that, assuming we want to do something.
Anything else?
I would like to wait till after city council,
Okay,
before we really get down to the nitty-gritty of the whole thing,
fine with me.
which is the 7th.
I kind of brought this up before, but I think the big problem is not the building itself, it's the responsibility after the building's up. Who's gonna take responsibility for what, how much, and all that.
Okay,
I
there's been a lot
Whenever
of,
too many hassles could come about.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to protect somebody from that, either the city or the county or both.
part of the study is we discussed that, and there's been a lot of thought, we just have not made it public, and I haven't talked with my fellow commissioners on it, but there's been discussions between the mayor and myself as the macro level of how to deal with it. Now, that's gotta boil down to, but I think what we're talking about, and once we unveil it to everyone, if we decide to go forward with it, that, in my mind, and in the mayor's mind, what we have talked about is, I think it's something that's feasible. Without going into any further than that, because first thing, before we get down to the detail, we have to understand, we're not approving to build the courthouse, we're just approving the study. And to see if we should move forward with it. If we don't agree with the study and we want to scrap the study and do our own study, or just can the whole project, we have the ability to do that, so.
The study was done through the COG, and obviously it's been presented back to them, so they have fulfilled
Yes.
the requirements of doing the study and everything that they were charged to do. So it's just, a matter of making sure we're cautious, cautious as we move forward on all those things, like you mentioned. And that's another concern I have is overall, is with all of the rooftops that we are responsible for in the buildings, and Commissioner Zoller brought up several of those concerns last week of various buildings that need some attention, and figuring out how we're managing those things, which is just gonna be add one more into the mix if we move forward with the new structures. So lots of things to review and look at. Anything else for the purposes of a work session that anybody wants to? discuss?
I would have a couple things if you want.
Sure,
Um,
we can.
Cindy Sugar from OSU is retiring on the 31st, and I know Nicole's working on a commendation for her. I wondered if it'd be appropriate next week, either before or after one of our meetings, we're meeting twice next week, to just deliver that to her and
Sure.
give her a little, hoorah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, maybe you could schedule that for either Tuesday or Thursday, whatever. Works into the
That's right, we
schedule.
get two next week, don't we?
The other thing was, I don't know if you guys saw the email that Stacy had forwarded to us from Jerry Greiner, president of Northwest Water and Sewer District.
Is that the one at Woods County?
Wood County, yeah,
okay.
offering to see if they could come up with some ideas on the
New Regal.
New Regal sewer. I talked to Mr. Zimmerman about that, and he said it sure wouldn't hurt to talk to him. So maybe we could set something up, again, maybe either a work session or a regular session with Mark and this Jerry Greiner from that sewer district, that they could, maybe they could help, maybe they can't, but they seem sort of optimistic that they might have some ideas.
Oh, is
Yeah,
this
that's
for her about that?
interesting.
So is he with Wood County? Is he with their sewer district? Is it a county sewer district? I was having
It
trouble
was-
following it a little bit on,
He's the president of the Northwest.
Northwest Water and Sewer District, and they're an ORC entity now, so they're their own entity, it sounds
okay,
like.
so they're separate.
I think he said he helped Wood County.
He used to work with Wood County. It sounded like until they changed the law and made them their own entity.
Entity.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Okay. Yeah, if Mark's open, I think that's,
He said, well, it can't hurt.
can't hurt to talk. I mean, we might think of something we've, not come up with yet.
That's all.
Absolutely, yeah, I inquired with Mark yesterday, because that's what I thought the first step to do. I didn't want to be redundant of what Mark's doing and of what all these other agencies were, and Mark hasn't responded back, but if you
Okay.
spoke with them, absolutely, then I would agree that we need to either go there, bring them in here. I would suggest that we also invite the mayor of New Riggle
Yeah.
here
please.
at the time, and
Maybe not the whole council, but the mayor.
Right.
just, they're looking for alternatives. We are looking for alternatives.
And Mark said RCAP was in and took all of the information that he had, so they're looking to see what possibly could happen.
So maybe our first work session in April? I mean, that's, or I mean, unless we end up needing to do it otherwise.
We
I
have,
mean, unless I, maybe like I said, do we need to do it sooner?
yeah, whatever.
That's just 2 weeks.
Whatever works out for everybody.
We'll see when they're available.
That, that is the day that they've sent the stuff for the joint county ditch stuff with Portage River. Do they know, I don't know if anybody responded to them, that we're in session that
I did.
day? Did you tell them? Okay. All right, I just know it's on the calendar. Maybe Mark's going to that, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Mark is, but I told him that we have session that day,
Okay,
so we won't be able to be there, but to send us the
Okay.
information from the meeting.
okay. All right. Anything else for work session? If not, I guess we can,
Well, the only, I just have, I know that Sheriff Eckleberry and I spoke yesterday, and he's gonna get some bids from an outside contractor with the assistance of the prisoners. But, we need to be prepared that this may be
well, this is on cleaning the building. the
cleaning,
outside of the
yeah,
building.
yeah, pressure washing and either, and I did, matter of fact, I drove by your building yesterday, that gray does look to be painted. The gray stripe, and then the other is unpainted, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. That, they would
He's
pressure
going-
wash, seal, paint, and,
He's coming today. About
He's-
1:30, we're gonna walk around the building. He's gonna take a good look and give us an estimate on what he, and with the idea that inmates will help him do the work.
yeah.
Good.
But it's somebody that, instead of us running around getting a pressure washer, and we don't really know all this stuff, an expert to do it, but that can also use inmates as, to help defray some of the costs, so Sheriff's looking into that, and I just wanted to update commissioners on that whole process. Do we have any cost yet for the annex? Did any of those people come back with any cost yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
No,
You got-
the last company took like 2 weeks to get us a quote. 4 companies came in last week and the week before. And I checked with Nikki yesterday and we haven't gotten a response back from any of them.
We have, I mean, going back to the RTA building, and I was there yesterday, and they got we gotta do something there, and I don't realize we're waiting for Lenny Klaus to come in with structural engineer, but they got those silly flower pots are leaking, and the walls, the dry walls deteriorating
Yeah.
on some of it. I mean, we gotta do something there. Whenever you get water on the inside of a building, you got problems, and it's gonna get worse. So I don't, somehow there's some major renovations are going to be made in the RTA building to be able to preserve it long-term. And probably going to be eliminating at some form or other those silly flower pots.
I don't think anybody will miss them.
Nah.
I mean, they don't use them.
Can I bring up a stupid suggestion? Why can't they cover those flower pots and eliminate some of that problem?
Well, that was my thought, but I'm not an engineer by any
Well,
means. Yeah.
I don't know how it's constructed otherwise, but, I mean, I know there's soil in there, and if you get the soil wet, it's gonna soak. If you
Well,
get,
the ones that,
Is
I
there
don't know,
soil
the
in
ones
it?
on
I
the
don't think
bottom
so.
floor, the ones on the
Okay,
top
great.
floor, when I say flower pots, it's just like a trough.
what's the top floor, is it really bottom, not the bottom? The top floors, is
I think it's, I don't know. I know the top floors are because the drywall's
Where they have
blistering the
water.
drywall where the water's getting in somehow.
yeah.
And they're not actually, we call them flower pots, but they're
Yeah.
basically troughs with drains in them.
Internal drains.
Well, I didn't
Internal
realize-
drains.
Really up.
I didn't realize there was any up above, I don't look up here all the time.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
looking at the ones down below, and I figured they could eliminate and just cover those, at least eliminate some of it if it's leaking in down below. I mean, that seems like
Well, we got
the easier way to do it.
water that's coming in the regional planning office down there that we need to take care of. Now, if that's coming from the top, the problem with water, if it's getting in someplace, you know, it could be quarter of a mile where it's coming out at, but, yeah, I mean, it's way over my head, and we need to, but needless to say, we need to take care of it. We understand that as commissioners, and
Lenny's coming to see us.
yeah, Lenny, and I spoke with him again last week, and he's gonna get a structural engineer to come in and make recommendations, but some or other, those so-called flower pots are gonna have to go somehow or other.
I think we had talked about trying to plug the internal drains at some point and getting the angle, because the flower pots are actually angling towards the building because of those internal drains. And I don't remember if, because we had, I don't remember the firm that came in, I'd have to ask Dean came in, and they suggested not doing that, but, I mean, we don't use them, and the drains are always clogging up and causing issues, but,
The problem is if you go the other way, then you may have to put some kind of downspouts
Downspout,
there or
yeah.
something in it. How aesthetically, how that's gonna look,
right,
I don't
yeah.
have any idea. We do have a problem that we're aware of it, and,
I hope as soon as there's a structural engineer, someone
yeah.
in the area. I mean, that he can, I mean, in terms of it's, I'm sure it's a scheduling issue as much as anything right now, but, yeah,
He may have a structural engineer on staff. I
He
don't-
might have one of his-
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would guess he does.
well, it's not 10 o'clock, so we can't start the regular meeting. We do our advertised time, so we'll take a break, I guess, recess until 10 o'clock.
Okay.
What's your
Thanks.
gut, what's your gut, Bill?